All right. All right. So we talked about how we name our variables, including our on-screen variables, our controls, and we talked about using this Hungarian with Pascal case and how and it compares with camel case. Okay. We talked about different data types. We got a whole bunch of them. Unlike C, we have a whole bunch of data types here. Okay. And the most important difference in C is that we actually have a string data type. Okay. Um, and at the end of the chapter, I talk about when to use uh, these different numeric data types like float, double, and decimal. Okay. Uh, we kind of went through this, had some fun with that. We didn't really go through this, but again, the idea with scope is that um, you have two levels of scope. One is the method scope um, level, where the scope of a variable is only available within a method. And then we had class or field level scope. And with that, uh, that field or class level variable has access throughout the entire class. And a lot of times we're working within the form class, so every method within that class would have um, access to that variable. And then we talked about the near scope, like method scope. If you had two variables the same name, one at the method level and another one at the class level, the the nearest scope is going to take precedence. In other words, method will take precedence over a class variable when you have to choose. Ideally, you would not name variables the same. Okay, that will get confusing. So choose different names. The other thing to understand is parameters or arguments within a method that are passed have method level scope. We talked about constants and how we like to um, name constants with all uppercase. Okay. And the idea is that constants, you cannot change the values. Okay. Um, we talked about the integer variables, the double variables, the decimal variables. We talked about the difference between explicit conversion and implicit conversion, also called cast operators. Cast is a term that you'll hear throughout your IT experience, and basically it's casting one data type to another data type. We talked about implicit and explicit. Implicit means that C sharp will go ahead and convert something for you, and explicit is when you actually do the conversion. And this is an example of a conversion using the parse method. The problem with the parse method is that if you try to convert something that can't convert to that data type, it will blow up. Okay? Um, So we also introduced the tri-parse, which you're going to use on your assignment number 1. And so went through some examples of converting uh, things to string. We also can use the concatenate. Concatenation is used by you use the plus sign in C sharp. And that's when you bring two strings together. You don't add them together, but you connect them together. And hopefully you've heard about concatenation throughout your IT history. About these. Um, Talked about unary operators where you only have one operand. Okay. And you can look at this to see how these work. Okay. Um, Minus minus subtracts one, plus plus adds one. Um, and then when you do minus equals and plus equals, it means add to the current value whatever you want to add. Okay. The current value of the variable on the left-hand side of the equal sign. And then finally, we talked a little bit about enumeration. This is when you have similar uh, constants that you want to use throughout your program. Uh, the net 30, net 60, net 90 days is an example of that. For you all that don't know accounts payable or getting invoice, sometimes you're getting net 30 terms, sometimes you're getting net 60 terms, sometimes you're getting net 90 terms. Okay. So, and this is how to use your enumerations. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be working on, we are on page 11 of our student lecture notes for chapter 4. All right. And so now our situation is to, I'm going to walk you through this, and hopefully you'll ask questions as we walk through this. Okay. All right. So we're going to make a tuition a tuition calculator for HFC. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is hopefully you've already downloaded your lecture um, code for chapter 4, which I've already done. And now I'm going to, this is the one I've completed a long time ago, but we're going to start from the very get-go to start programming this. Sound good? All right. So this should be a lot like your assignment number 1. All right. So again, we can either, because in this class, each solution will only have one project, we can double click on the solution or the project, either or. What should I click on? That's your first major decision.
Click on the project.
All right, so we're going to click on the project. So I'm going to double click there. So let me go ahead and double click. And for you all at home, you'll be using Visual Studio 2026. I'll be using 2022 here. By the way, I have loaded 2026 on my computer it's at the church, and so far I haven't had a problem going from 2022 to 2026. You do have to make sure you're using .NET 8.0. That should be your framework. And then, by the way, it doesn't say framework. Okay. You aren't using framework anymore. That's old technology, even though you still are using framework. But anything that says framework, don't use it. So we're going to skip that. I like with 2026, you only have 2 choices. Here we got 4. Okay. And so here up it comes. We don't care what's new. So I close that out. The first thing I always like, and again, I know I sound like a broken record. Do y'all remember records? No? Okay. There were things that
Yes.
before CDs. Yeah, you do? Good.
Like vinyls? Yeah.
Yeah, vinyl. So you remember vinyl, huh?
Yeah.
Or or is this just sounds better? I don't know. Anyways, let's go. So again, I like to bring up my properties window. So I do a view, and we're going to go to the properties window, and it brings up my properties window. Okay. By the way, I am recording this, so you can watch this video later. All right. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to double click on my form that I'm going to be working on, which in this case is the HFC tuition calculator. And it's actually a combination of files right there. But let me double click right here. And it'll bring up my form. All right. So I'm happy with that. And also, let's go ahead and bring up our toolbox. So, where is that toolbox? Right there. So I bring it up there, and then I like to turn the pin and push it in, and that pins it to this location. And this is how I always like my environment to look the same. The less your brain has to deal with, the better. All right. So now we are inside our program. All right. So keep your notes up. I'm going to bring my notes up over here so I know what to do. All right. And we're going to play around a little bit. Is that all right? All right. So, so we've opened it up and we got several things we need to do on our screen right off the bat. For number two, we're going to change our font to 12 point um, for the text box. So this is our text box, and we're going to make it multi-line. We're going to make it true. That will give us a vertical scroll bar. We're going to make it read only because we're only going to put output in here. Um, we're going to set scroll bars to vertical. And we're going to make the tab stop false because we don't want to be able to stop here because it's output only. And then we're going to manually resize our text box to fit within this group box right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's start working on that. Um, so first thing is I always like to make my properties of my controls. I like to list them from A to Z. And otherwise, they're put within their different categories, and I'm not always sure what category something belongs to. So we're going to switch that. Okay, and then always at the beginning is the name. So we are in the right text box, TXT, tuition information. Okay, so first thing is we're going to switch our font. So let's go down and find font, and it's Segu, but we want to change it to Carrier. Okay, Carrier New. So you have to expand font, and then we just go right here, and we find carrier new. So let's try that. And there it is. Okay. And now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this text box multi-line. And the way you do that is you just change multi-line from false to true. Default is false. Okay. Still left it the same size, but now we can put in multiple lines into this text box. All right. We're going to make it read only. So we're going to set that to true because it's going to be only for output. Now we could have used the label here as well. Okay. Just for we want the idea though to be able to scroll up and down in this box. And so one of the main things is we want this vertical bar in place. So let's go ahead and make a vertical bar. And I'm not sure that this is available for a label, this property. And then we're going to change the tab stop. We're going to make it false because we don't want the tab. When we tab through, we don't want to be able to tab through, and we don't want to be able to select this when we run the application. And then we're manually going to resize this. So, and I'm just going to drag it down. You can see how the scroll bar has appeared. Any questions? Did you do it all, Jeremiah?
It's my fault. I arrived late, but I didn't know how to bring find the right file. I didn't want to say anything because you were.
All right. So, the right file again. I'll. The right file is right here as we go under week 3. Yeah, we're a little bit behind, but right here under week 3, you see the chapter 4 lecture files. While Jeremiah gets ready for this, is there any other questions?
Professor, I'm not sure if we're gonna get to it later, but removing the Windows icons from a program,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we were gonna get to that later because there is
So,
an exit button on here, so I figured we were gonna maybe get to it.
oh, you deleted the exit button?
No, I did not delete the exit button.
Okay, good. So, what's your question then?
If we were going to be removing the buttons for the windows up in the
Yeah.
top, like in the upper right corner, how you would remove those?
So, if we wanted to put a button or move a button up there?
No. So you know how you exit out of the program, like the X in the upper right corner here, the red
Yeah.
X, like how you would get rid of those?
So, if we were to run this, and it may not run, let's try running it. And I'm not sure, maybe this is what you're asking. So, we're running our program. Now, you can either use this X to exit, or you can use this to exit. And I'm not sure that we programmed this yet, but let's try it. And it did work. Does that answer your question, or?
No, but I think I'll probably just wait. We'll probably get to it. It would be like if you just wanted to use the exit button and get rid of the other way to remove a program.
Yeah, there's a way to do that. And I will show you that right now, just as we. So let's say you wanted to just use this exit button in your program, and you didn't want to have these. Okay? So the way to do that is it's actually a form control. So you have to look at the form, and you can tell that we're looking at the form right here. And there are let me see if I can figure out which one's the right one, but they're let's see. Hmm. So I'm looking for which control that is. Um, 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 let's see. Um, cancel, auto side, auto value, accept button. You know what? I can't remember which one it is, but you can remove those, and we will do that in one of our exercises. Um, so let's see. I'm not sure right now. I can easily look. But well, let's go ahead and let's look at here's how I would do something like that. Um, and this is why I allow you to use Google. Um, let's say how to remove um, let's just say exit strip in C sharp. Okay. And so click on menu strip. Okay. All right. So this is programmably how you can remove it, but let's go. Let's see where if we have that available. So again, I'm looking at the properties. Let's see. Oh, right here. Main menu strip. No, that's not it. Cursor. Control box. Cancel button. Um, True. Let's look one more time. Let's see. Well, I can tell you right now, I'm not sure, but we will get to that at some point. It's one of these properties that you have to change. Okay? But that's a good question. Main menu strip. Nope. That's not it. Control box. Wonder if that's it. Let's try that. I don't think it's that, but let's try it. Let's see what happens. Oh, it did remove it. It was control box. My bad.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And really, I went through all that. I just wanted to show you how I operate. I don't try to remember every property and what it does. Um, but I just want to I know I if I can look something up, I don't want to utilize brain cells to try to figure it out. Okay? And that's why I let you use Google, but not ChatGPT. You could use ChatGPT, you just can't copy my questions into ChatGPT. All right? All right, let's go on to our next thing. Oh, we better put that control. We could put that back. Okay. So we're going to put that back. All right, good. All right, so we're on to number 3. We're going to add a label under HFC tuition information and name it LBL message. Okay. And then we're going to, so let's go ahead and add that label. And what we do, click on label, drag it over where you want it, and then we're going to rename it. So I go right up to the top to rename it. We call it LBL message. Okay. And so I've renamed it. Now I got to change some of its properties. And again, we're going to use this label as output. So that's why we named it. If we weren't going to use it for output like these, we don't even need to rename these because we will not use them for anything other than to indicate what these text boxes are for. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and make the auto size of this be false because we're going to make it one size and it's going to stay that size. And anytime we use a label for output, we are going to change the border style to fixed single. 3D is for text boxes, okay? But we made it fixed single for output labels. We're going to change the font from 12 point. It's already Segu, but we're going to change it from 12 point to 15.75. Okay. All right. And we're going to make the fore color navy blue. Okay, so let's go find fore color. Set the black, we want to make it navy blue. And how we're going to do that is we're going to see that, look, there's no really no navy blue here that we want. What we can do is we can go to custom color. And if we go down to the 4th row and the 7th column, there's navy blue. So let's go ahead and select that. Okay. We're going to make the text empty. So it's already, if you look at it, it's already got something in there. We're going to remove that. We want it to start off as empty. You could also do that programmatically. We're going to do a text line here, and we want middle center. So we select this box, and we're going to resize the label according to the example above. And then we're going to do a lock controls on forms, okay? So let's resize it to what we want it to be. Okay, I'm good with that. And I'm good with that. Okay, so I made it the same size as my my text tuition information. Okay. And then we're going to go to the form level and we're going to lock our controls. And when we lock our controls, that means that we can accidentally move things, uh, move things around. Okay, so you get that it's true. If we do need to change something, we can always come back there. Okay, but this is at the form. It's on the form object. Okay.
How did you lock controls?
So what? How the way to lock your controls? You click on your form. Okay. So you select your form. Okay, and that means basically the way you select your form is by not selecting another control. And then once you see form tuition calculator, FRM, then you can go down to the property of locked and change it from false to true. Okay. All right. Um, all right. So now we're on to number 4. All right. Um, By the way, let me just deviate a little bit from this. You might want to test and see if this all works. Okay, so at any point you can test this and to see if it all works. Um, the way to do that is we could double click calculate. Okay, and that brings us to our calculate button method. And you can actually put something in that label to see if it works. So we could say LBL message dot text equals we could make it student ID, or we could just put in um, something like this. And you can put in double quote, this is a test. So now when we click on calculate, it should put this message inside our label. Okay, our LBL message. So we can execute this, and if we hit calculate, it should change this. Okay. So so I'm going to click calculate, and we're happy it works. Okay. So I recommend that you on a regular basis test your program. Okay. There's no better feeling to make sure that your program works. Just follow along. You can watch a video after.
Following along, you put, do I have to do LPL message text with only M being capital? Oh, I can just delete it. Actually, this is not a.
All right. Notice that my buttons are back now, my control buttons. Okay. But I can still exit out this way. All right. So I'm going to leave this in for a minute, but it's your job to go through and take all your code out that you don't want in there, that you're using for testing purposes. All right. Now, let's go back. We have to modify the clear click event to clear the label you just added, and it will be used as an output label. So again, we can double click here, or we can do view code. Let's since we double clicked at calculate, let's do a view code. And right here, we see that we're already doing some stuff. We just need to add label into there. So let's go ahead and add label into there. And there's two ways to clear out your text boxes and your labels. We're going to try this way. We're going to do a string dot empty method. Okay. And that will do exactly the same thing as doing a quote quote. So you can do either or. And again, I want to test, make sure it works. So let's go ahead and test this out. If I, by the way, I should be able to do an Alt C here. So let's try that. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and hit C. It works because we've made C our button. If we want to get to this button by doing an Alt C, we do that. To clear out would be an Alt L. We're not going to do that. We'll just click on it. And yes, that works. All right. Yes, I'm taking my time. I'm going nice and slow. Okay. All right. Now, at this point, I might comment this out // The only reason I didn't delete it out is I might want to use it later to test. Okay. All right. Now we need to set our tab index. And let me just show you what I mean by that. Jeremiah. Pay attention to your stuff.
I'm trying to copy it so I can keep ahead. I want to actually try the assignment.
I know, but you can't bother other people. They're trying to learn too. So, all right. So right now, let's see what our tab order looks like if we were to do tab through our, whoops. If I started tabbing, look where I start. First thing is I don't want to start there. Okay. If I start tabbing, it goes there, goes up there. This is awfully confusing. Okay, fortunately, it doesn't go to either one of these because tabs don't work for labels unless you tell it to. And we told this text box not to be a tab stop. Okay, but anyways, it's all screwed up. So let's go ahead and fix that. Now, the way you work with your tabs is you go to View and you go to Tab Order, and it takes you in a different mode. Okay, and so I know the first question you have: how did this tab order get set like this in the first place? Is anybody asking me that? Basically, it's set in the order that you put your controls on your form. Now, to easily change this, you just start clicking. Whatever one you want first, click on that first. Whatever one you want second, click on that second. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. We're good. Now, these don't matter and these don't matter because they are not tab orders. So we changed the ones that we care about. And we can go ahead and run this and see if it's working the right way. Notice how it's starting at the first tab. And now if we tab through that, okay. And we could try Alt X to make sure it works, but it takes us out. Now, you have to toggle back and forth for the tab order. Well, I guess I toggled out of it, but we have successfully done our tab order. Any questions thus far? You're confused? Okay. All right. So, all right. So we've done a lot of different things. And again, the simple part of all this is that I've just walked through every single question and I was able to do it. And you should be able to do the same. All right. Now our next thing is that every a form might have a default button. What would the default button be? Anytime you hit the enter key, that would execute your default button. And the way to do that is to set the default button. And so here we have to go at the form level. So you click anywhere you would like, except on a control. And the group box counts as a control, by the way. And click there. You have your form selected. Now go all the ways up to the top, and you can hit your accept button, and it will show you whatever button you have, and we're going to choose calculate. All right. And by the way, this is where I'm probably going to go back and just put this label test in so you can see that it actually worked. Okay. Now, so to test it, we're going to run the application. And if I hit enter, notice how there's a blue circle around calculate. That means I've made it my accept button. If I hit enter anywhere on the form, it does that. Now, of course, I can do a control L to clear it out, or click on clear to clear it out. Oh, maybe I don't have it set there. Oh, let's just, oh, Alt L, my bad. Alt L clears it out. Enter puts it in. All right. Everybody got the accept button down? Why not?
Because I got lost between people.
All right. Well,
I really need that help, bro.
I know, but you got to kind of keep up. So,
I can't keep up like that.
all right. Um, so I'm purposely trying to go slow here. All right. Now let's talk about the form load event. And as we look at our code behind, okay, everything under in the class for the form is put right here. So these are all different methods for different controls inside our form. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to work with the form load. We do not see a form load method at this point. The easy way to create any method is to be in the control you want. In this case, we're in the overall control, the form control, and double click, and it will create a method for you. So, and as you can see, we just created a form load method right there. Okay. Now let's see what we need to do in the form load method. What we are going to do in the form load method is we're going to populate this HFC tuition information. Okay. Now, so what we need to do is I actually have that information for you. Okay. And the way you can get to that information is you do a file, open, in this case, a file. And if you go back to chapter 4, you see C# code to insert. Okay. And this is the form load code that you're going to put in. Now, there's different ways to do this. But in this case, we're just going to use this form load is code that we want to copy in. So let's go ahead and bring it up. We open it up and there's the code. So we can do a Control-C to copy it and then go to our form load and do a Control-V, which pastes the information in. All right. Now, so this information's pasted in, but we have to do one other thing. Well, we got to do a few different things. So we're going to add the 2 lines that you see in your notes. Yes, Aurora.
Yeah, sorry, real quick. I was just wondering, I'm not sure if there's like a difference or if it even matters mentioning it, but there's an option in here, right? You can go to view and then, or no, I think it's edit, and then you can insert file as text directly in there. Does that like have the
Yeah,
same exact? Okay,
however you want. Yeah. The
okay,
big
just
thing is
checking.
I just want to get these lines of code into my program
Okay, gotcha.
and into the form load method. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes there's a reason for the other method, so I just had to ask. Thank you.
Yeah. No, and that's fine. Yeah. Usually, look, with C#, there's going to be, I always say this in my database development class, but there's many ways to skin the cat. And that's probably mean because we all love cats, right? So, and this is going to sound gross. We even love cats when they pee on our bed. And we had to wash all of our stuff. He doesn't pee that much. He did the other day. Um, Anyways, I've digressed. All right. So I can actually close this down right now. I don't need this anymore. But we do want to add 2 more lines. And what we're going to do is I'm going to try to copy these lines. I'm going to cheat. Is cheating all right? No. I'm going to try copying these lines into my program. Okay. And I'll have to, let's see if I have to change anything when I do this. Okay. So let's copy, we've successfully put those on in. We got to get rid of the semicolon. We're going to do a plus space to concatenate these on. And notice how I put the plus right here so you could easily comment these out instead of having to worry about the plus being back here. Whoop, I don't want that. I want this. Okay. So you should successfully have entered all this in. One of the things that we forgot to do is we forgot to put this environment variable that Microsoft has conveniently made for us of this new line. Okay. Now there's another way you can do this. You can send escape characters to do a new line, and we can put that right in here. And it's going to be, I think is it backslash? Yeah, or yeah, backslash. I have backslash n, but that won't work. You got to do backslash r and then backslash n. Okay. Or you can do it this way. Okay. But we have to do that for every line. So it turns out it's the right way.
Sorry, Professor, so many questions for me. So the backslash R, the backslash N, that's how you just do a new line, just a new blank line.
Yeah, that's saying escape two escape characters there. Escape R and escape N. Now I know in our notes we have escape N, and that works for like if you've taken Python, that works for Python.
Yep, exactly.
But really, what has to happen is to get to a new line is really two escape characters. It's or two ASCII characters. It's ASCII 11 and ASCII 13. And no, that won't be on the test. It's just some stupid information I've remembered throughout my years. Okay, and so to get to a new line, you have to do a carriage return and a line feed. So the R is for the carriage return, and the N is for the line feed. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I'll probably deep dive into that later, but thank you.
well, here's the thing: you can use this plus environment dot new line. Okay, it should work just the same. So, but we have to do one other thing here. Okay, and the other thing is we have concatenated this all into this string. And now we have to place this string into this box. Okay. And this box is TXT tuition information. Okay. So can anybody walk me through this? How do we do that?
I'll take a guess. So the TXT, I forgot the name of it already. The TXT tuition information, I
Yeah.
think you said. Yep. And then dot text equals the string space string str tuition.
Yeah. And as you know, IntelliSync has already figured that out for us. So we're happy about that.
Yeah, I'm not memorizing those names right off bat, so that's very helpful.
Yep. So let's go ahead and test it out and see if it runs. And it looks like it ran. Okay. So that's pretty simple, right? So on your test, it'll be probably be something similar to this. So make sure you understand this. All right, let's exit out of this. Um, I can hit the stop. I can hit do Alt X. I can hit this. All right. All right. Now, our next job is to program the calculate button. Okay. So let's go ahead and try that. So we got to declare some local variables. And we have 3 numeric variables that are text boxes on our form. And we need a decimal variable to calculate the tuition amount, and constant variables for the values we will not be changing. And we see those values right here, right? These are the values that we're not going to be changing. So we just have to coordinate and develop these constant. They're constants. They're not variables in our program. Okay. So let's go ahead and we have another file that will help you do that. So let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, so we're going to do open file. Again, we're going to go find our C# code to insert. Okay. And this time we're going to use the HFC tuition calculate click. Okay. All right, there's all of our stuff. Okay. Now, I did leave you a few things to consider. Okay. But you could pretty much copy this code. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and copy. First, we're going to copy all this. Okay. And we're going to put this all into our calculate click method. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. All right. So, and we're going to go back to our code behind. And we're going to place this all right here. So at this point, I'm good with getting rid of this message. So we're going to do a Control V to paste it in. And we have problems. How many people like problems? All right, Jeremiah, did you do what I just said?
I don't want to break the couple more have. Just going to repeat.
You what?
If I try to do a step that you're trying to do, I'll break the code even more on what I already have, and I can't. I can't. I don't know how to continue. It's like missing one of those ingredients at the start. I can't make it right this.
So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to put this code in to our button calculate click, right? And we're going to open up this file and we're going to copy it on in there. Everything else you can go back and fix later. This, this will still work if we do it right now. Okay. All right. So after I've copied it in there, now I gotta go figure out all the question marks here. Okay. So here, let me show you one more time how to do this. Okay. So let's say I have a blank method for my click tuition. Okay. So right now it's blank. Okay. Now I'm going to do a file. I'm going to do a file, open, file, open, file. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to my chapter 4 under my lecture folder. I'm going to go to C# code to insert. And I'm going to click there and open it up. Okay. Now, Aurora, you said there was a different way to do that. Let's take a look at your different way of doing that. File.
Yeah, so mine was go to edit.
It was edit.
Yeah, so edit and then insert file as text.
Okay. Insert file as text. We obviously got to go find that file.
Yep.
And right there and right there. And yes, that works too. So that's good to know. Good to know. Okay. Obviously, your cursor has to be at the right spot. Okay. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, I have too much red here. Okay. So what we have to do is we need to start getting rid of these question marks. One of the first things that we're asked to do is declare int credit hours. Okay. And so we can just really get rid of the question mark right here. Okay. And get rid of the declare and make this int. Okay. And that's the way you declare a data type. In this case, I declared an integer. All right. All right. The second question mark is the service fee per credit hour. Okay. We got the tech fee per credit hour, but what's a service fee per credit hour? Let's see if we have to. Right there, it's $18. They charge you guys $18 for that? Okay. It's probably more now. So let's replace a question mark here. First, we have to get rid of the comments, put in 18. Right? Right. Then it's complaining that we're not, the green line's under here because the program's saying, hey, you're never using this constant. Why did you declare it? So let's we're not worried about that yet. And then we got to get rid of this question mark over here. Okay. we still don't have, we have red there. We got to make constant CONST, and then we have to tell it what type of variable, I mean, what type of constant it is. And we're going to make this equal to 2. Oop. And we just need our semicolon. We're good there. No more red. Then, if we want to, we could say, hey, this is where we are declaring our variables and constants is a comment. Okay. And hit enter. We're good. It thinks that you want to make that a comment, but we don't. Okay. Now we set our string message to blank because we're going to start populating that with the actual amount. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to convert our text boxes to data, to numbers. And we have to explicitly do that. All right. So we've done the first 2 for you. Now we got to do the same thing with the course lab fees. So let's go ahead and let's start working on that. Okay. And equals, whoop. And the way we do it is we're going to just follow this. First thing is go look at our, and because we set it to int, we're going to use int right here. And we're going to use the parse method from the int class. Okay. And then we just need our parentheses, right? Whoop. And I forgot one thing. Anybody know what I forgot? Yep. The text. Okay. All right. We're getting rid of red. I'm happy. Hopefully everybody else is happy. All right. We do have a few more things that we need to do.
Oh, Professor, you forgot to
Yeah.
close your parentheses and put a semicolon.
What? Say that again?
On line 56, you forgot to put that closing parenthesis. You forgot it at the end with the semicolon.
Oh, you are correct.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, we need that. Thank you. All right. Now, the last thing we have to do is figure out our actual tuition. Okay. So, so the first thing we need to do is we need to times something by credit hour. What could that be? Let's go. What is it? Let's see. Something by credit hour. So would you say, Jeremiah? How about let's see.
It's credit hour times credit hour rate, right?
There you go. Yep. So it'd be credit hour by times credit hour rate. So so let's go ahead and put that on in. I copied that. Now, interesting enough, I don't have to convert these are two different data types, but it will implicitly convert in credit hours to decimal. Okay. And so we're good there. We got to replace these other two. And so we have service fee. So text fee. So I can copy this. Okay. And then I got one more. That's so we did service fee, tech fee, and we got student activity fee per credit hour. That's a mouthful. Can they think of anything else to charge you guys for? All right. So right now, this should tell us what our tuition is. Okay. Now, the last thing we need to do is actually display the student's name. So if we double click there, if we type in TXT, we can get we'll just do it student first name, and we'll concatenate a blank in there. And then we'll concatenate the student's last name. All right. Now, there's one last thing I forgot to do. Anybody know what that is? I forgot to put the .txt in there. So we're going so what we're going to do is we're going to just put all this on another line. Okay. And we're going to put that and that. Okay. All right. And that should be it for this program. Let's go ahead and let's oh, so there is one last thing that we need to do. Anybody know what that is?
And that on we're done.
We got to do something with this variable right here.
We have to display that message in the output box, right?
That's right. And that would be LBL message. And the property is text. And of course, C# has already figured it out for us. See how easy this is? All right, let's go ahead and now let's execute our program. And my guess is something will blow up. Okay? And it'll be something stupid. Hey, it worked. So, and we can easily test this out. I'll just put my name in there because I used to go to school here. Of course, my rate wasn't. I'm a Dearborn resident. My Dearborn resident rate was. Anybody want to try to guess what my Dearborn resident rate was? How much?
75.
75,
Yeah, per credit hour.
100, 150. It was 15. $15
Oh my
a
God.
credit hour when I went to school. Well, let's go ahead. Let's say you took 12 credits. That's credit hour rate. Well, we'll put 15 in. And my lab fees, we'll say $100. Let's see what happens. I hit calculate. Brenda Dula's total tuition for 12 credit hours was $678. Has
That's
anybody ever
sickening.
paid?
That's
I
sickening.
know. It is, isn't it? I know. Let's now if I'll clear everything. I don't want to clear everything. Let's put in the $111 rate. Let's see how much difference there will be. So $678 versus $1,830. Man, I feel sorry for you guys.
You
Yeah.
know, Professor, maybe maybe that's excuse for us to get a snack.
Amen. Well, uh, what can I say? But anyways, the cool thing is our program works. All right. So I just wanted to show you this and walk slowly through. And I'm going to post this video so you can do it, Jeremiah. You could do it over and over and over and over and over again. You hate watching videos.
Give her direction.
I know. But why do I put videos out there? So if you do miss something, you can catch up. Okay. You don't have to watch the whole video. You can just go to the part where you missed it. Okay.
You have to public, you know.
So, anywho, let's go back to our notes. Um, and your first assignment will be something like this. Okay. So we did all that. Um, we could have rounded our tuition total. And this is a way to do that. Okay. And you can use the math class to be able to do that. And let's go ahead and try that. Why don't we do that? Okay. Let's just copy this. Oh, and I do have to show you one other thing. Okay. Um, so if you had like decimals in here, you may want to do something like let's see this C2 says change it to have two decimal places after two characters after the decimal place. Okay. But you could have also rounded. So we could have did something like this. Okay. Um, so let's say we wanted to round it to the nearest decimal place. What we would do is we would just make this variable equal to that. Okay. And you could say equals. Okay. And then instead of doing this C2, you could just do toString. Okay. Um, let's go ahead and run this again. When I start testing your programs, your first name is A and your last name is B. So as I run through these programs, um, let's say, uh, you took uh, 15 credit hours, okay, and instead of making it 111, let's make it 111.25, okay, and let's say $100 here. And we hit calculate, and it rounded it to 0.75. Okay. So that's another way to do that. And now I want to show you something here. What happens if I fat finger this and put in 15A? It'll blow up. Okay. So if you don't want it to blow up, you have to use the try parse. And let's just use the try parse here, and let me show you that. And I'm only going to change the integer credit hour one. Okay. So we're going to use try dot parse, and the try parse so what we're going to do is we're going to try parsing this. Okay. All right. And then we're going to save it into an output variable. And we got to put out. And we're going to save it into this int credit hours. Okay. So this is how the parse looks different than the try parse. Now, let me go. I don't know if this is capital or not. Can never remember these things. That looks pretty good. Let's go look at the syntax of this right quick. And we can just go right up here and see what the syntax was. This is why you can look at your notes and stuff on a test. Okay. So, oh, I forgot this. Okay. But you can see the syntax there. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. So and we can go here and just select that. All right. So the good thing about the try parse is your program won't blow up. So let's go ahead and try to run this. Okay. Okay. All right, that's fine. So if I say credit hours, we'll say 15 again. Credit hour rate 111, 100 works fine. So it gives me that number. Look at, and that's part of the problem you really should have the C2 in there regardless because you always want it to be formatted that way. So let's go ahead and format that right quick. And we'll put C2. All right, and you'll see the difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so 15 111 100. Hit calculate. You see how it formats it different. Okay. So C2 is a formatting thing where rounding just tells you to round up, round to the nearest integer or the nearest decimal, the 10th, 100th decimal place. Now, what happens if I put an A in here? Anybody want to guess? What you say, Jeremiah? It does. You say it crashes. What's somebody else? Now remember, we're using the try parse here.
It's just not going to calculate properly. It's not going to blow up because of the parse, but it's not going to calculate right.
Yeah, it's just not going to calculate right. In fact, it's going to make it 0 because, well, actually, it'll make it 100. Well, let's see. Oh, 2 times. So it took all of our constant values, and it actually made our credit hours times credit hour uh, rate, and it made that all 0. Okay. Now, the reason you might use this over parse is so that your program doesn't blow up. What we're going to learn later in this class is that you can actually validate your information before you do any calculations. Okay. All right. Let's finish up today. Let's see where we are. So you can also do a text change. We won't do that. But you are able to create an event for text change. In other words, if you change one of these numbers on this form, you can say, hey, recalculate. Okay. Let me do that right quick. And the way you would do that is you can tell it to run this. Okay. So let's take a look at our notes here. So if something changes, you can make that LBL message blank. Okay. And we won't do that, but nullable value types, and null coalescing operators. Just understand this. Okay. The question mark says, hey, you can make something null. Okay. You may not want to have null values. I will tell you this, null values will screw you up. They are unpredictable. Okay. So try to avoid null values. And this is one way to do that. Is that you can make a variable 0 if it is null. Okay. And then finally, this will tell you when to use what. Okay. Decimal versus double versus float. Float has the precision is a lot less in float than double, and double is a lot less precision than decimal. Ideally, use decimal when you're using when you're talking about financial applications. Okay, you might say, well, money only goes to 2 decimal places. Well, it actually goes a lot further. Okay, so use decimal for that. A lot of people use double. Obviously, if you look at this, every time you're using twice as much space when you go from one data type to the next. Okay, until float It's good for things like images. Um, you can get away with most everything with double. Okay. So just so you can read this on your own. All right. Any questions? I know we've. Okay, Jeremiah. Um, yes, Aurora.
I've got sort of a side question. I'm not sure, how important it really is, but whenever you're renaming your text boxes and your labels, I noticed that you put the and symbol in the name sometimes, and it gives that underline effect. Is there a reason why you're doing that?
You mean on the buttons or?
Yeah, yeah. Even when not on the buttons, like the labels themselves, you put that and symbol in there sometimes and it has like an underline under a specific letter. Is there a reason for it? Like a functional reason?
Yeah, so on your buttons, the underline indicates what you can use the Alt key for. Okay, so if you, for example, Alt C for calculate, that C being underscored, you can do an Alt C and it will run that command.
Oh, okay. I never knew that. Thank you.
Yeah,
So it's a keyboard shortcut.
it's a keyboard shortcut.
It just codes the shortcut in there. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and in a way you do that is, we talked about this last time, but let's take this button for example. Okay, um, and you can see that. Um, oh, it's down in the text. Okay, whatever you put an ampersand in front of, that's your alt key. Okay. Now, obviously, we couldn't do C for both of these because,
Yep.
well, it would probably only do the calculate. So now you, now you made me want to try it. So let's go ahead and try compiling this. Okay. Um, let's do an Alt C. Yeah. Well, it ran the calculate. so anyway, yeah. And by the way, the text change, we can try that while we're here. Um, we can make that empty. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you would have to choose either or. You have to find a different letter. Otherwise, it'd be very confusing. Even though they would both try to work. Um, oh, this is kind of interesting. It actually went to the C. So let's take a look at that. Oh wait, yeah, I didn't change it, did I? Yeah, if I did this and just try writing this, let's see which one it does. I better put some numbers in here. Okay. Now, if I do an Alt C, let's see what happens. Yeah, it did the calculate first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. Any other questions or comments?
Would I be able to see the last code that you wrote under text credit hours?
Yeah, right there. Yeah. So, and how that works is, let's say I run that in. Okay, Brett, Eula, again, 15, 111, 100. Okay. So let's do it. If I hit enter, it'll calculate it. If I change this, as soon as I change it and I leave the field, I won't not even leave the field. As soon as I change credit hours, it empties this out. So it's I'm so it's called a text change event. You're actually doing event programming, and things happen by whatever events happen on your screen. All right. Let me stop recording.